October 7, I think, was a complete surprise to everybody, to the Israelis. Nobody anticipated that
Yeah.
Hamas would mount this attack in Israel. And in the lead up, and we collect a lot of data. We obviously collect so much data that there's no way that we, Dark Owl, can see all that data and make sense of it. And I asked our team, could you go back and look at all the data we collected in the run up to October 7th and tell me, is there anything we could have seen that would give us a hint that this attack was going to occur? And one of the analysts came back and he said, we found an interesting thing. We cover about 40 Hamas channels on Telegram. These are Telegram channels that Hamas is using for, to broadcast its propaganda or just talk about what's going on. And he said about half of them went offline about 2 weeks before October 7th and were completely silent and all came back on the morning of the 7th simultaneously. Right. Now, that's an interesting intelligence thing. It wasn't the presence, it was the absence of activity that should have been a signal to somebody that was key. And we've published on that. It's on our website, the analysis of that as well. So, there are these little threads and little hints. There's a lot of activity, by the way, in the darknet between the Iranians, Hezbollah, Hamas, Israel. You can see it. You can see it unfold. Some of it's propaganda. Some of it is, here's a way to get access to this government's networks.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting because we heard for a long time the next war will be cyber, but you've actually got the receipts.
Yeah, we do have many of the receipts. By the way, I will just point out one other thing. Misinformation and disinformation is a key component of all of that. So it's one thing to mount an attack on an Israeli electrical company or an Iranian industrial concern. It's quite another thing to very subtly consistently put out information, misinformation or disinformation, because like a lot of viral networks, you have that in the darknet and it can move from the darknet to the surface web. It can move into social media. It's a great way for us to plant misinformation and disinformation. We work very closely with a number of companies that monitor that environment specifically for misinformation and disinformation, which is now part of the cyber warfare. I consider it to be part of the cyber warfare realm.